Wait. Whoop. Hello, everyone. What's up? What's up, fine citizens of Gotham? How are you? How are you? Streamlabs. Who's watching? Nobody's watching. Everyone's. What up? Video archives. How are you? Just making sure everything's up and running. Can you see and hear me okay? Is that better? No, we want to go actually to live control room. Hold on a sec. What's up, everybody? It's Sunday, December 2nd, 2018. I hope everyone is doing well today. So video archives, what's going on? Nice. Hey, Marcia, how you doing? Let's do this. What's up? Carrie Nichols, hello. Yeah, I know Jimmy's doing it at the same time. I just couldn't. This is the only time I already set today, 3 o'clock today, and I have other things I got to do after this. And I just flew in this morning. I was out of town. So I know you guys are doing both. Some of you. So thank you. Marcia Smith just got fitting, putting her outdoor to cool her decor, Yuletide. Nice. Hello, Joshua. Thanks for joining the show, everybody. Let me see what's on over here. Yeah, I know you guys are gonna have to switch between two things. Sorry. Let me just bring this up. So I wanted to talk about this. Of course, George H.W. Bush died. So, you know, all of this, and then everyone's saying how honorable and great he was and all this other stuff. And it's just sort of like the deep state saying, you know, this is, he was a honorable, you know, like the deep state just wants everyone to be more honorable when they're screwing us all over. Yeah, they are. I got nothing good to say about Poppy Bush. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to watch. Like I'm reading, I'm going to show you this right now. So they, you know, we have to do a big presidential funeral. That's what happens, which, all right. I mean, that's how it goes down, I guess. I understand. Wednesday is a national day of mourning. You know, it's George Bush, you know, got us into the first Gulf War. You know, he was the former head of the CIA. It's just pretty corrupt. I mean, it's just how business was done. And now Trump is just, as I've said, is just the most vulgar version of all of that. Excuse me. Yeah, with that oil money. Yeah, it's really kind of nuts. Yeah, he was head of the CIA when JFK was assassinated. So it's very much like, I believe he had something to do with the Warren Commission. Warren Commission. The Warren Commission was pretty horrifying. Let me write this right here. Let me look this up about the Warren Commission. Gerald Ford secretly provided information to the FBI on the Warren Commission. Earl Warren suppressed key evidence from the commission. Chief Justice Earl Warren was a close friend of the Kennedy family, and his personal attachment may have interfered with his duties to the commission. In one of the most infamous episodes of the investigation, Warren denied the fellow commission members access to Kennedy autopsy photos because he deemed them too disturbing. Oh, is that why? Is that why it's too disturbing for everybody? He later refused to allow the commission to interview certain witnesses whom Lee Harvey Oswald may have known in Mexico, and even tried to block an interview from First Lady Jackie Kennedy because he didn't want to invade her privacy. Oh, is that why? It wasn't a big cover-up. It was heartstrings. The commission secretly interviewed Fidel Castro. The FBI and the CIA intentionally misled the commission. The FBI and CIA had monitored Lee Harvey Oswald in the months before the assassination, but both agencies later tried to downplay their knowledge of him to the Warren Commission. Oswald had once even left a threatening note for an FBI agent at the Bureau's office in Dallas, fearful of catching blame for not preventing the assassination. God, this is from the historychannel.com, so even their telling of it, the commission offered no clear motives of Oswald's, no clear explanation of Oswald's motives. Oh, maybe because he didn't do it? Both Lyndon Johnson and members of the Kennedy family privately disagreed with the commission's report. Public trust in the report plummeted only after a few years. In 1964, when the poll came out, only 56% of Americans agreed with the poll. By 1966, the second poll said only 36% of the people agreed with it. Most Americans back then, and even today, but people who were alive when it happened, believe that it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. A second government investigation came to a different conclusion. In 1979, the HSEA stated that the acoustic evidence from the Dallas police officer's radio showed it was likely that two shooters had fired on Kennedy's limousine, and then concluded that the assassination probably involved a conspiracy. Although subsequent investigations have cast doubt on the radio evidence, the HSEA's report helped fuel public dissatisfaction. Isn't that insane? We all kind of know what happened. There's evidence to show that there was a conspiracy, and yet no one wants to really talk about it. That's just insane to me. Carrie Nichols, I don't mean to be rude about George H.W. Bush, but we have hundreds die daily in our nation for lack of medical, addiction, suicide, and the list goes on. Forgive me if I care more about regular Americans. Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's a good point to bring up, Carrie. I mean, I understand when a former president dies, like if Jimmy Carter were to have died yesterday or today or whatever, when he dies, it's going to be, everyone's going to talk about it. And, but, you know, they always sort of lionize him. And I just don't think that's, I think when I die, I hope people bring up the good and the bad when I die. You know, like, I don't think it's right to trample on a man's grave or whatever. I don't know that I agree with that. So I think people should be asking themselves about George H.W. You know, are we going to learn anything from that? Are we going to learn anything from what he did? Andrew Sweet, how are you? Video archives. Carter's a great man. They'll shit on him when he goes. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. They'll that's what they'll do. They'll talk about all the crazy stuff Carter was trying to do. You know, his failed attempt to rescue the Iranian hostages. You know, Fox will be playing that on a loop. Robert Fernandez, JFK UFOs is all right in front of us, but everyone's too distracted. Yeah. No, it's the JFK thing. It's crazy, but it just shows you, like, you know, my biggest thing going back to JFK is, you know, Jack Ruby just kills Oswald. He's a nightclub owner with ties to the mob. He just did it because he was a proud American. That's the real thing to me. Like, it's crazy. Getting back to George H.W. Bush, Andrew Sweet, 500,000 Iraqis might have a different opinion of H.W. after the blockade. Well, they would if they could. Absolutely. I did not watch the Fury Wilder fight. Oh, Marsha, thank you for bringing this up. Hey, folks, if you're here in LA, Graham has another Stay in Your Lane comedy show at the Corbin Bowl in Tarzana, December 22nd, $10. Yeah, come out for that show if you're in LA. It's a lot of fun. We have 6 comics. They each do 15-minute sets. The tickets are $10. There's food and drink specials. There's, like, you know, drinks and food for $3 to $5 each. It's a very affordable, fun night out. You get discounted bowling. If you want to bowl after the comedy show, it's a lot of fun. Marsha's gone. She'll be there. You guys, it's a lot of fun. Don't forget, you can support the show with the Streamlabs link if you want. Yeah, let's bring up the first Gulf War. $149 U.S. combat deaths. I bring this up. Desert Storm. There were an estimated 10 to 12,000 Iraqi combat deaths in the air campaign, as many 10,000 casualties on the ground war. That's not talking about all the other people. And now it's like, and this is the thing too, when everyone was all George Bush and the Gulf War, right? I remember that, and everyone was all like, look what he did. I was like, yeah, but Saddam Hussein was still in power. Like, if Saddam Hussein was so bad, as they said in the first Gulf War, why did we let him stay in power? You know? And then look, we were back there, 10, 11 years later, 10 years later. It's just, our lineage in the Middle East is hilarious. And we didn't even get Saddam Hussein out of power. It was just more, basically more just military stuff with oil. We got to keep him in power so that we can go back there again. Basically. Bowmanville doesn't even have a bowling alley. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah. We are walking contradictions. People just constantly forget. It's really, well, if you look at, like, let's look at the lineage of Iraq, right? So in the 80s, we backed Saddam Hussein in the Iraq-Iran war because we were fighting with Iran. There's pictures of Don Rumsfeld and, everybody meeting Saddam and being good buddies with him. It's pretty insane if you look at what we've done. There was a democratically elected government in Iran in the 50s, and we went in there and helped stage a coup and got the Shah of Iran in there, who was awful. He was very, very evil. He tortured his own citizens. He was horrifying, right? And then, but we had to back him because he'd play ball with the oil. It's like, it's the Middle East and Central and South America is very similar. Like, I was reading up on Chile and Pinochet, who was a brutal dictator from 1973 to 1990. We backed him. We backed Pinochet. You're out getting Hawaiian food? Why? That's why I wish I had my headphones. The island music is so loud for me to hear, Graham. Well, Joshua, I hope you're enjoying your Hawaiian food. Aloha, friend. Yeah. But then, as Andrew Sweet brings up, getting back to specifically in Iraq, the sanctions that have killed so many people. Look at, it's just ridiculous. So during the second Gulf War, when Bush's son was president, Iran was trying to back channel like peace because there's a lot of progressives, westernized Iranians. The Middle East, man, we have screwed that region up. If you want, like, there's a great documentary called Afghan Star. And they were doing an American Idol basically version in Afghanistan in like 2004. 4 or some 5, somewhere there, 6. Something. And so it was after the Taliban was kind of out of power. We had a lot of troops there. And they showed, you know, this woman sang a song on TV, and she like did that with her shoulders, and people went nuts because that was still against Taliban's rule or law. You know, that was considered dancing, and it was forbidden. And they were in this documentary. They went and showed Afghanistan in the 60s and 70s. Women were dressing like Westerners. Halter tops, guys were in open collared shirts. It was the wacky 70s. You know, Kabul was called the Paris of the Middle East. But what happened, we went in there to all these countries. We needed their oil. So we got in bed with awful dictators who then, I mean, there's so many things that we've done. We helped create all of this fundamental Islam. We've helped create it. I mean, Iraq. Because we just pushed the you know, even in Iran when they had that, we always push the clerics and they're all evil, and they say all these awful things, and there's all these progressive people there. People in punk bands, and there's a whole scene there. Like I follow this woman in Syria, Sarah Abdullah. I think she's a Lebanese reporter, and she's always showing all of these Christians in Syria doing all this stuff. I was just looking at her on Twitter, and we never see that. Our mainstream media only shows them wearing the burqas and the extremists and the, you know, so the whole Middle East is just up for grabs. Everyone's in war. They're all just Islamic fundamentalists. There are Islamic fundamentalists for sure, but we've helped perpetuate that by backing dictators, by bombing the shit out of them, by like sanctions and all this crap that then, I mean, you starve people, you make it hard for people to feed their families, then an extremist come along. I mean, look, it's happening in this country. Everyone's, you know, all the right, the Proud Boys and all these fascist assholes, because Trump, there's those jobs because NAFTA and the TPP and everyone's been screwed over. So then they run to a crazy ass demagogue like Trump. We help do that in the Middle East, man. And Joshua Pegg, when I saw that HW died, my only thought was, here we go again. Yeah, BS Jeffrey, we didn't get involved with brutal dictators. We set them up. Absolutely, BS Jeffrey. That's absolutely what we do. We get in, we help, we promote them. We've helped stage coups to get the, you know, because time and time again, a democratically elected government goes, I think we should be able to do whatever we want with our natural resources, and we don't need to let America and its corporate interests tell us what to do with our own natural resources. And then we go, oh, no, you can't say that. So we're gonna get a lunatic in there that's gonna play ball with us. We've done this all over the planet. We've done this in Asia. We've done this in Africa. We've done this in Central and South America. We've done this in the Middle East. It's insane. It's insane. Western European countries are usually somewhere around close to. We give them a taste, you know, and it's TS, what do you think the plight of our entertainment-based societies might be in the future? Well, that's a great question. Before I get to that, I want to answer this one. Talk about this. Iran is not ass backwards as we think. It's a young population influenced by Western trends, and they are highly educated. They don't want a holy war or wipe out Israel. Plus, Iran can fight back, not like Iraq, and the U.S. should think twice about taking them on. Yeah, it's Anthony Bourdain did a show on Iran. He said the Persians were the nicest people they've ever seen. You know, after I interviewed Carla Ortiz about a month ago, I follow her on Instagram, and she's in Damascus right now. And it's really nice. Looks nice. I mean, there's obviously Aleppo, there's bombed out places, which are horrifying. But again, what are we doing with that? It's pretty nuts. Yeah. Idiocracy. Absolutely. But let me get to TS's question. What do you think the plight of our entertainment-based societies might be in the future? That's a really, really good question. Well, currently America, one of the problems with America is we're so entertainment based, no one's getting any real information. I mean, to get actual truth or whatever, you have to watch, as Jimmy Dore says, jag-off nightclub comedians. You know, he and I have talked about that. Like, there's Jimmy, there's Tim Black, there's Lee Camp, there's Kyle Kulinski, there's Abby Martin. You know, like there's just a handful of people trying to get the truth out there. That's all we care about is the truth. And I don't know, like in America, we're obviously so distracted by big, slick entertainment. I mean, yeah, I love those big Marvel movies. They're a lot of fun. I mean, I cover them on my movie podcast, Comedy Film Nerds. They're fun to go to, but that's the problem. And Hedges talks about this in Death of the Liberal Class. He said there's nothing wrong with frivolous entertainment, but when it is a bottleneck for any other type of art and entertainment that's got political and social commentary, then it's a problem. And that's the thing. I just don't know. I mean, you know, we talk about sustainability of these big corporates and these top-heavy business models and plundering the environment. But even in show business, I don't know how show business and like the movie industry is going to survive when they're just making all of these $150 million movies. And then there's no room. They're not giving any funding to anybody that's doing anybody doing a movie about Flint, Michigan, or the Dakota Access Pipeline, or how tough it really is for the, you know, majority of Americans. I did that video. 51% of Americans make less than $30,000 a year. That's problematic. You know, that's, as I've said, 60% of the country doesn't have $1,000 in savings. So it's like, yeah, as Andrew Sweet says, information is entertainment. Yeah. So I don't know what the plight of our entertainment-based societies might be in the future. I think, well, at least in America, as long as the big corporations control of the entertainment, that means they control all of the late night talk shows and sitcoms and which big movies get greenlit. They control all that stuff. Who gets distribution, they control all that. I mean, look at Google. Look what Google's doing. I get demonetized if I do a video about Syria or Yemen or something like that. They're throttling my numbers. You know, I couldn't do this show if I was just trying to live on YouTube money. I have to do Patreon. And because YouTube throttles my numbers, I'm over 10,000 subscribers, which is great. But I should be at 20 or 30,000 subscribers if they were doing YouTube the way they used to. Which means my videos, if you look at my videos, I get, you know, 300-400 views, sometimes 1,000 if something really pops. But when I first got into doing this, YouTube would just, the more videos you put out, they would just promote your videos. Now they don't do that. Now, I mean, now they're unsubscribing people. Some of you get a bell notification. Some of you don't, even if you clicked the bell. That's Google censoring me and Jimmy and everybody else. You know, lucky for Jimmy and Kyle Kulinski and people like that, they already had a massive following. So when YouTube started fucking with their money, they went over to Patreon and it pretty much subsidized everything they were doing so they could keep it going. I was trying to grow this and then in the middle of trying to grow this, they did that. So it's really, you know, because the more people that watch and subscribe and the more YouTube promotes my channels, then obviously the more people are going to funnel their way into Patreon. I get all this stuff, but they're holding back the amount of people that can watch some of my videos. So it's like, I don't know. It's a great question. How are they going to, I don't know. Are people just going to resist? Is somebody with money, some billionaire who's a progressive, gonna really get behind platform, like start a new platform or get behind people such as myself to let us have a voice, to let us get our word out there? I mean, you know, look, Abby and Mike Preisner have built up their new studio. So they're starting to do more Empire Files, which is great. But I don't know. I really don't know that. I don't know. I have like a distinct answer to that question. It's a great question though. Andrew Sweet. It's hard to get tits and explosions into movies about North Dakota Flint. Absolutely. 10.5 thousand subscribers. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, the reason, yeah, Jimmy, comedians may engage in a bit more critical thinking due to the craft. Yeah, that's what we do. Comedians, we look at everything and go, who came up with this? Why would you do that? You know, that's kind of how we think and look at the world. So, you know, but it's weird that, you know, engaging in this path, doing political vigilante, I basically had to kind of make it when I got fired, you know, a little over a year ago for this big media company fired me. They hired, and they because of my Twitter feed and my politics, I kind of had to sit and make a decision and go, if I double down on this, doing this progressive indie media, I'm basically saying no to mainstream media giving me work. That's why we're doing the progressive comedy tour, because, you know, I'm not going to get a Netflix special. Probably. I'm not going to, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'd be great if I was wrong, but you know, they're just like, oh, you're too out there politically. So it's why the progressive comedy tour, it's so great that Ron and I are starting to sell out shows, but we've talked about it. I've said, you know, Ron's younger than I am. You know, by the time I was Ron's age, I had already done 300 episodes of TV. And I said, Ron, just so you know, man, you might, all this stuff you're doing, there's a chance they're not going to hire you for any mainstream stuff, because who owns the late night talk shows is the big networks. Comedy Central is owned by one of those mega Comcast or somebody like that. You know, so we have to go build up our own following and our own audience through these platforms, because I'm not going to get a big time TV show. They're not going to give Jimmy a late night talk show on one of the big networks. No way. No way. So it's kind of insane. Phil Brzezinski, I'm glad you're on both feeds. The punchline is usually truth. You're flipping back and forth between Jimmy and... Yeah, as I said at the top of the stream, guys, I was planning on doing this, and I only have a certain amount of... I flew in this morning, and I got stuff to do this evening, so I had to, you know, I had to stick with the 3 o'clock, and I know Jimmy was like traveling or whatever, so that's what's up. But no worries, that's all good. Do you have an agent? Could you do commercials at least locally? Yeah, I have a commercial agent. I've auditioned for some commercials. But and I might get hired. It might be fine, but they might hire me and then check my social media or check this channel and see what I'm saying and doing and go, we can't hire this guy. You know, he just got mad at the gun. He just told the NRA to go fuck off. We can't have this guy selling our trucks or whatever, like, or whatever the ad, you know. So yeah, that's the thing they're doing now, is they don't want anybody too controversial. So they're going to look at my Twitter feed. They're going to watch this political vigilante channel. All they got to do is watch 1 or 2 videos of me talking about the wars in Yemen and the corporate media, and like, they're not going to hire me, man. I mean, maybe I'll slip through the cracks on one, but you know, so yeah, gun stores are out, but they're just not going to hire someone because they're going to be like, look, if we put this anti-NRA guy in our thing, if any of the potential buyers of this product or this watchers of this TV show are NRA folks, man, like, look what happened when the Roseanne show came on. It blew up. the ratings were through the roof, and everyone was like, wow, maybe we should be making more sitcoms for Trump supporters, is what was the conversations that were being had around here. And then, of course, she said stuff and got fired. But, like, no one wants to go near anything that's remotely controversial. And I would be considered controversial in their eyes. So it's crazy. I'm really dark. I'm not. If I watch it on Chrome, it looks good. Hanoi Jane still got work. Yeah, she did. Well, that's because she was from a powerful family. Oh, creepy. I get it. Natural Progressive. Hey, Chris. Everyone remember to hit the thumbs up button. Appreciate that, guys. Those are all the great ways to support the show. So thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Okay? Because they unsubscribe people. Make sure you hit the bell notification button and all that stuff. And again, I've said this before, let the ads play all the way through. Don't, when you watch a regular video of mine, don't click skip ad. I don't get paid that way. If you let the ad play all the way through, I get paid. So, what's up, Chris? You look brighter than usual. I'm on Chrome. Well, I started to do this new lighting thing. I got another light. See, I'll shut it off for you to show you. See? And then there's the light. There's the light. Already did that smash button. I also announced on Jimmy's feed that you're live, and now you're up to 18 viewers. Yeah. I knew I wouldn't have those bigger numbers because people be on Jimmy, which is fine, man. Balthazar 228. Can I just ad block and throw money at you? Yeah, that's always good. Great ways to support the Patreon is a great, that's monthly income I can count on, or through here, or Streamlabs is great. I have a PO box on my website. So a lot of people have even just sent me, cashier's checks or cash and stuff like that, which is always appreciated. I have a little fund, basically. Whenever I get cash, I put it in this envelope, and so it's just stuff for Political Vigilante if I need to buy equipment or whatever. So, it's good to see all of you here. So I wanted to talk about this real quick. Let me just show you what's in, just when you go to Yahoo, just go to Yahoo's homepage. First thing is about football. Then there's some celebrity. The Weeknd just shared a Borderline pic on his Instagram. So they're reporting on a celebrity's Instagram page. Angry Democrats look to settle score in Georgia after voter suppression denied Stacey Abrams victory. Oh, wow. They're talking about voter suppression. Okay. The latest, Putin spokesman displays Trump's lawyer's emails. All right. Something about football. Explosives attack at U.S. consulate in Guadalajara, Mexico. Oh, boy. The U.S. consulate in Mexico City. Let me read this story. Let me put it here. So the U.S. consulate in Mexico City's Guadalajara was attacked with explosives hours before a visit to the country by Vice President Mike Pence. Oh, boy. Mike, what are you going to do? Boy. Look at that. He was fine with Ivanka. Oh, man. The cartel, one of the... So this article, they're saying it's the drug cartels. That's who they're, I'm going to bring this back over here because I got to read this. They're potentially saying it's the drug cartels, which, hey, it could be. It could be the drug cartels because, you know, they're pretty violent and pretty brutal. It also could be the CIA saying, we need to just show Mexico, because Fox News and the Trumpers are going to go, see, they're trying to kill our way of life. That's what that caravan is. That's why we're justified in tear gassing women and children. How offensive is that? People are coming here, I believe, from Nicaragua primarily because, again, we've backed some horrifying jackass who's making everybody's lives horrible. Our citizenry buys the majority of the drugs from the Mexican drug cartels. But we got to build a border wall, because that's how the right will spin that. They're trying to blow up our freedoms, man. That's what they're doing down there. They hate our freedoms, so they're trying to blow up Mike Pence. But you always got to ask, like, if you see that angle and that angle gets traction, then I always go, maybe the CIA threw the bomb. Maybe they're pushing it. I wouldn't doubt it, right? Poor Mike Pence, yeah. Those are staged timed attacks dating back to similar incidents like the Colin Powell in Iraq and another one in Baghdad. Yeah, for Truman's Secretary of State. Absolutely. That's a good. Yeah. That's all we need is a soundbite. They tried to blow up Mike Pence in Mexico. Wouldn't it be great to have a border war, to send troops down to the border, gassing people on sending troops on our own soil, which is against the law? It's crazy, man. Anything to get the war machine going. Anything to get the war machine going. Yeah, it would be weird if it wasn't the CIA. Thank you, Joshua Pegg, for saying that. That's absolutely true. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. Yeah, Cat B. America has laws? Not really. Do you think Tom Hanks will run? Haha. No, God. No, I don't think Tom Hanks will run. I don't think he's going to run. Andrew Sweet. No caravans from Scandinavia. Why? Because their lives are good. If the Central Americans had safety, food, employment, they would not come near America. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we've got good old Justin Trudeau up there in Canada, for starters, who loves playing ball with the oil lobby. So he's great, you know. And then, as you said, Canadians and Scandinavia, I mean, when people have, you know, healthcare and good jobs and unions and stuff like that, they don't need to. It's a thing we talked about. We were talking about it last week. You know, why there was 2,000 coordinated. One of the reasons why they were able to coordinate 2,000 protests in France, because they have Medicare for all. So the only way you can get really good health coverage in this country is to have a job, right? So you're less likely to strike, to protest, because you can't lose your job, because you'll lose your health care. You see how that works? That's why Nancy Pelosi will never vote for Medicare for all. She won't. It's like, it's pretty amazing. If Americans had a Marshall Plan for Central America, you'd fix the problem. Yeah. Well, we also need people doing drugs in this country so that we can stock up the private prisons. You know, we need to have the war on drugs. We need to have all these wars going. We can't, because if we treated drugs the way we should, which is treated as a health issue, drug addiction is a health issue. It's not a criminal issue. you know, then we wouldn't need all of these prisons. We have the highest percentage of convicts of any Western country. It's insane. It's really insane. My hometown of Oshawa got gutted this week when General Motors closed. Was there for 100 years. Yeah. It's crazy. It is crazy what we do. Let's see if there's anybody on Streamlabs. Oh. Lilo Dallas Multipass. I spent over $200 trying to convince Jimmy and Ron to take 5 to 10 minutes out of their schedules and look into PayPal compatible donation tracking assistant software, Streamlabs and others. All I've gotten of will check it out and then nothing. Well, I'm sorry about that. They, you know, they're pretty busy over there. I've told them about it. I've told them how much I like it. So I like using it. I get paid very quickly. It's a good thing. Yeah, I've told him, you just got to understand, Jimmy he is a big operation, and there's just him and Steph and Ron. So they're busy with a lot of stuff, and they get a lot of email requests, and then they're always, you know, it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of time just to set, when he does like an interview with, like, let's say Jill Stein or somebody like that, Chris Hedges, there's a lot of scheduling stuff going into figuring out to get a big name person like that. So it's don't be despondent. I'm sorry. I mean, like I said, I've brought it up, but just know that they're pretty busy, man. I'm not a criminal, but I'm an addict. The Bushes profited from both sides of the drug war, supply and prohibition. Oh yeah, absolutely. Getting back to HW. Oh, I mean, it was Reagan who started that whole thing, you know, and then Iran-Contra all came out of there. The video I did for the Patreon, the bonus video, was all of the people in the Reagan administration that had been convicted and gone to trial, and all how corrupt his presidency was. I didn't realize that, because I was like a kid when it was going down, and I was like, wow. And so much of it was tied into the Iran-Contra stuff. Oh yeah, I mean, there's a guy, his name's Michael Murdoch, who was ex-CIA, who showed how the CIA was funneling cocaine into this country. Like the crack epidemic in the 80s was, the CIA helped push that. You know, when Reagan, and who was the vice president? Oh, H.W. Bush. I mean, yeah. Hey, Vegan Trove, trying to watch 2 programs, JDS and you. Yeah, I know, it was just a tough scheduling thing. Jimmy was flying yesterday, and this Saturday or Sundays at 3 o'clock is kind of the time I like to try to just stick to. I couldn't have done it earlier. I can't do it later, and I couldn't have done it yesterday. So sorry, guys. Natural Progressive. Are you going to interview Robert from the UPAC? So interested in how lawsuit is going. I would love to. I've been trying to set that up. Chris, thank you for reminding me. I'll hopefully get some time set up to make that happen, because I would love to get an update on that lawsuit, which would be really cool. Joshua Pegg, watch Freeway Rick Ross to learn how crack was introduced to the streets of LA. Yeah, absolutely. There's a really good documentary too called Collapse, which is with this gentleman. I forget his first name, Murdoch, though. He talks a lot about all of this. It's an interview with him. It's pretty crucial what he's come up with. BS Jeffrey, Gary Webb was the reporter who broke the crack story. Then they broke him and he killed himself. Yeah. I wonder if he killed himself. You know, it was one of those CIA suicides, you know. Guy just couldn't take it anymore. This guy had never had a problem with mental illness, never done drugs, who just decided to OD or whatever. I don't know exactly how he died, but yeah, it's a really good point. When you talk about the crack epidemic, it's pretty scary. Another donation from Streamlabs from Honest Questions. Boom. Shave the knuckles, guys. A lot of progressives in my close circles are shitting on Jimmy about his doubting the takeover of the Democratic Party while ignoring my very real question as 1, what is victory? 2, what is defeat? 3, what is the timeline for each of those? You know, I understand progressives who are trying to grasp some type of positive victory, like, look, we got a blue wave, it's happening, we got the House back. I get that. But that's the thing too. You ask great questions, and these are the questions you should ask your friends. Yeah, all of your questions here. What's the cutoff deadline? Are Justice Democrats getting any positions of power in the party or anything of substance? Are Pelosi promises just Schumer scam? Right. Is Justice life giving life support to a terminal party? Is Democrat a toxic term? I mean, those are all fantastic questions. And thank you, boom, boom, for supporting the show. So let's break that down. That's the thing. What is victory and what is defeat? And when people say victory, it's like, well, we got to get the White House back. But I always say, like, but with whom? What type of Democrat is they're never going to let a progressive get the nomination. You know, like, what are they going to do? So that's the thing. When I argue with those types of folks too, I go, just get the House back with what? Those CIA Democrats? You know, because there was really only 2 corporate Democrats that got primaried. So, I mean, yeah, exactly. You have a great question. What is the timeline for each one of those? Because that's the thing. We have a year and a half before the next presidential election. So really, look, believe me, after the holidays, it starts. Everyone's going to start throwing in nominations, and the primaries start. Okay, so because everyone's going to start positioning themselves. Will one of the Bushes, will Jeb Bush, will he try to run again? You know, who knows? Will they say we're done with Trump? I don't know if some crazy shit might happen on the Republican side, but which of the Democrats are going to try to really run? You know, is Kamala Harris going to do it? Like all this stuff that's going to happen, and what's the timeline? You know, because look, guys, we got 11 years. If we don't make drastic changes starting like today to change the way we do things with our energy and our environment, then after 2030, it's over. So that's the thing I ask these people, like, well, we're going to just keep playing this incremental bullshit. And when they get mad at Jimmy, it's like, God, it makes me so mad because I'm like, the Democrats have failed you. When the Progressive Caucus backs Nancy Pelosi and the first thing she does is start making deals with Trump. Boy, that's some solid resistance. Would the Tea Party ever do that? Would the Tea Party ever do that? If we had a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate and a Republican Congress, would the Republican Congress fucking try to make deals? Nope. They would dig their heels in the sand and say, we ain't budging. We're not budging on any of this. So Pelosi is awful. She's just awful. So you ask great questions. Do I think the Justice Democrats are giving life support to a terminal party? No, you know, I watched that conversation that Jimmy and Kyle Kalinske had. And, you know, Kyle's a very, I don't know him personally, but he's a real smart guy. And I respect his opinion a lot. And he brought up the issue of, you know, he's like, for all, there's not one, or like, let's start a third party and let's reform the Democratic Party. Let's pull everybody more to the left. Which I'm for all of it too. So ultimately, I don't think Justice Democrats are, I don't know that they're doing that. I don't know. It's a tough question. Because I know this, that if a real third party or somebody, either we formed the People's Party or somebody put a bunch of money behind the Green Party, then no matter what happened to the Democratic Party, it would pull the Democratic Party to the left, or we'd reveal them to show them who they really are, which is a bunch of right-leaning centrists at best. So yeah, I mean, these are fantastic questions. And I, you know, the Pelosi promises are complete bullshit. Don't trust her at all. Your final question here, is Democrat a toxic term? Yes. For anyone that considers themselves right-leaning, they won't vote for anything that says Democrat. You know, I talked to Sam Ronan about this a little over a year ago when he was running in the primary as a progressive in the Republican Party in Ohio. He would go knock on these in his district, it was very red, and say, do you guys want Medicare for all? Do you want free college tuition? Do you want to reduce our military budget? Stop spending all, and everyone's like, yep. And he said, well, I'm a progressive. And he goes, if I would have said that I was a Democrat, they would have slammed the door in my face. But because I was running as a Republican, I think for a lot of people, they just can't vote for the Democratic Party. That's why a movement for a People's Party, I don't know. I'm all for it. I'd like to see 4 or 5 really vibrant parties in this country. You know, I'd like to see a really hard left party pull everybody more left. You know, the Democratic Party could do this if they just double down: Medicare for all, forgiving student loan debt, free college tuition, Green New Deal, ending these wars. They would pull the Republican Party to the right, or to the left. They absolutely would. They absolutely would. So they're great questions, man. Thanks for donating to the show. Marsha Smith, love and dollars to support the political vigilante. Marsha, you're awesome. We'll see you December 22nd. Thank you guys for supporting the show. It very much means a lot to me. Where are we at here? The all-powerful Susan Sarandon is who everyone needs to blame. Yeah, you guys are discussing back to the crack thing. Yeah, the targeted the poor Black people who are one of the most addictive drugs around, and they blame the targeted people for the problems that followed. Yeah, absolutely. The all-powerful Susan Sarandon is who everyone needs to blame. Absolutely. Yeah, she's so mean. Jana Kelton. Jana, thanks for joining us. There's nothing pragmatic about using incrementalism for catastrophic problems. Ron Placone. Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know how they still haven't gotten Streamlabs yet. Vegan Trove, thanks for mentioning the economic operational reality in your vids, Graham. Thank you. I just try to be as straightforward as I can. Yeah, I just want to let you guys know. YouTube, without Patreon, I couldn't do the show. Jana Kelton, labels turn people off. You got to get them with policies. Absolutely. And since we have these two parties that are both awful, you know, there's plenty of people who are left leaning that just won't vote for a Republican. They just can't. Because part of that, what that does is you're also like, oh, am I helping the evangelicals and all that crap? But yeah, I know. We just got to get the policies. The two-party system is horrifying. It's brutal. It sucks. It's ruining this country. There's no two ways about it. Check out Scott Horton's podcast episode with Max Blumenthal about Ukraine and the U.S. training the neo-Nazis. It's very enlightening. Yeah, of course. Another thing that we're helping do that's evil. Hey, Moose Gal, what's up? I guess they were right about Susan Sarandon and Jimmy swaying the election. That's why all the ads in 2018 were catering to Susan Sarandon and Jimmy Dore and not the voters. Jana Kelton, my very conservative parents who have voted R their entire lives voted for Bernie because of his policies. Yeah. I know. Because retirees are seeing how brutal it is. And they're scared, and rightfully so, or people that are getting ready to retire. It's scary. You know, a woman came up to me after the Progressive Comedy Tour show that Ron and I did in San Francisco. And she goes, you know, Graham, I'm 63 years old. I work freelance for all these tech companies. So I don't have health insurance. I have to pay my own. I pay $900 a month for Obamacare. That's the thing too, man. And she goes, the healthcare industry, it's like when I see like Jen Kirkman, who's a comic that I know, and I consider her a friend, I guess, going after Ocasio-Cortez and who has a picture with Susan Sarandon. Medicare for all, like feminists should be screaming for it because women pay more in health coverage for the crime of being born with the pre-existing condition of having a vagina. That's the pre-existing condition that costs so much more money. Like that should be a battle cry from feminists. That should just be like, this is bullshit. Yeah, I'm 49 years. If I was a 49-year-old woman, my insurance would cost more, even if I was in the exact same health. That's bullshit. Like people should be screaming about those things. Medicare for all, and the solutions, the Green New Deal helps everybody. It's preposterous, man. Mooskow, Graham, Rep. Tim Ryan of Ohio, Democrat, is going to run for president in 2020. As someone from the Midwest state of Illinois, I feel that he is very progressive on economic issues, can beat Trump. Well, let's hope. Unless Bernie just decides to run again, then let's all back him. I want to see, like, the thing people keep missing because no one wants to listen, everyone just screams and no one wants to listen, is actually a healthy debate. Democracies should have a healthy discussion and a healthy debate on what's best for everybody. We don't have that. We have two pro-banking, pro-corporate war parties that argue over these handful of other issues while everything else is going to shit. While we drop 100 bombs a day. By the end of today, we'll have dropped 100 bombs. Every day. So let's get some real people out there talking about real policies and real issues. Because we see this sort of, the term progressive keeps getting thrown around. It's like how they'll just put eco on something and oh, it's environmentally friendly because it's eco. Hot what? Is it made from recycled products? Does it use green energy? You know, like they'll just put all natural and then you read the ingredients and it's a bunch of fucking chemical bullshit. Everyone's just calling themselves a progressive. And then they back down off of it. I'd love to see someone with the fucking balls to go hard left and not back down to any of these jackasses like Pelosi. My pleasure, TS. Yeah, Jana Kelton, you can't have a debate when the 6 owned media controls the whole narrative. Absolutely. There's no mention of political parties in the Constitution of the Bill of Rights, and yet both parties control the debates. They determine if there's a third party on stage. We haven't since what? Ross Perot was the last time they were allowed on stage? Maybe. I remember Gary Anderson, I think in the 80s, I think. And then I watch debates in other countries and there's like 4 or 5 people on stage. Why can't we have that? It's so stupid. Not the Ukraine, just Ukraine. All right, you got it. Mooskow, Graham, how do we get healthy debates if we don't get real political facts to our people? Now what? I do notice that Bernie Sanders inspires more Americans to seek political truths. I think that's not a small thing. Dog shit is all natural. Thank you, Andrew. What a fine fact. Well, this is a great point too. Balthazar228 says, newsflash, Bernie could totally host his own debates as a third-party candidate online. Absolutely. I think, Mooskow, that's why people resonated with Bernie so much, is he was speaking so truthfully and he was talking about real issues and facts about, he was the one constantly saying the corporate media. He was calling it the corporate media, you know? And I think, you know, when you just start saying the corporate media, then you take like Fox News and MSNBC's power away. Fox News has a power. It talks to its red state people and say, oh, we're giving you the real skinny. MSNBC does the same thing. When you say they're all bullshit, that's when you start unifying people. That's when, like, Jana Kelton was saying her conservative parents voted for Bernie. It's a, you know, you need somebody like that actually getting the message out. And he was speaking in front of these massive audiences, you know, and you need it covered by other non-traditional media sources. I think the candidates not allowed by the Dems and ours should own their own live stream debates on YouTube, Facebook. Most of us don't watch TV anyway. Yeah, I know. Am I feeling a little bit tired? Yeah, a little bit. I flew in today. Joshua Pegg, we can't have nice things because we have money in politics instead of publicly financed elections like the rest of the industrialized Western democracies on the planet. Well, yeah, and when the two parties, I keep saying this, but the two parties control everything. So they're the ones that said, oh, you have to have 13% in the polls to make it on. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And they're such cowards. Like, if I'm so big and bad, because they know their policies are bullshit. If I was the Democratic nominee and I had that party behind me, I'd say, let's get the Libertarian and the Green Party candidate on stage. Let's have a real debate. Let's debate the issues. Let America decide who they think is most capable of being commander-in-chief. Let's have that debate. Let's have that discussion. Not that fucking pro wrestling bullshit that we had to watch between Trump and Hillary. It was just offensive. It was offensive to me. It's offensive to anyone that knows how to read. It was offensive. In the UK, they have joke candidates. In the US, our candidates are mostly jokes. I don't get that. Just recovered from a virus. Haven't had a virus since 2012 when I was in Vietnam. Ugh, that's gnarly. I'm feeling 10 times better than when I was. A couple of weeks ago, oh my God, it was brutal. Yeah, until we fix the money in politics, it's hard to have integrity in our elections and nothing gets fixed. Yeah, it's a good point. Jana Kelton, how are people not out in the streets after all the election fraud this year, especially Broward County, Florida, Texas, Georgia? Why were people in the streets after the 2016 primary? You know, I talked to some people who went to the Democratic convention in 2016 and they were like, Bernie can beat Trump. Like, this is bullshit. And they said there was a bunch of pro-Bernie people, Bernie people from all over the country, from Texas, from all over the place. And the delegates would come in on a bus, and these delegates, not just some supporter, but a delegate, a Democratic delegate, saw all these Bernie supporters and went, we just spit in people's faces. Like, we gotta, it's more people should be taken to the streets, man, in nonviolent resistance. It has to happen. The UK actually has actual joke candidates like Lord Buckethead, an intergalactic space lord whose platform includes stop selling arms to Saudi Arabia, stop buying lasers from Lord Buckethead. That's funny. Moose Gal, Graham, we need election reform before 2020. We should make all candidates have the same requirements to ballot access. Who cares if they run with a third party? Yeah, absolutely. The kind of election, I mean, we need so much reform. You know, elections, in my opinion, should be 3 days long, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You should be able to vote early. We should have paper ballots. You know, we should use, well, there's blockchain voting that they're starting to develop. So people can vote online using the blockchain, which you cannot hack. You know, we should have nationally televised debates with a minimum of 4 candidates. You know, runoff elections, ranked choice voting. Jesus Zamora, do you have a guess why it's illegal to share seeds in 29 states? Yeah, let me guess. The pharmaceutical industry. Yeah, 2016 primary is the most disappointing thing I've ever experienced in your life. I know. And that's why the fucking Democratic Party, like, people still, all these people, and I know so many people got, you know, young people that got energized in politics for the first time, or people that were in their 30s or 40s or 50s or older who were like re-energized because of Bernie Sanders. Like, let's do this. You know, what he was talking about. And then, but, you know, when people say, oh, blame Jill Steiner, would say, no, blame the Hillary campaign wanted Trump. They were trying to get Trump the candidacy because they're like, oh, we can beat him handily. They helped push him into play. Read the Podesta emails, man. And then they fucked over the progressive. Trump didn't get fucked over. Look, the Republican leadership didn't want him in there. But when he blew up that party, then they said, all right, you got to have Mike Pence. I saw an interview with former Secretary of Defense Gates, who was Secretary of Defense under Bush and under Obama. And he was doing his book tour that summer. And he goes, if Trump wins the presidency, I'm going to emigrate to Canada, he joked. They were hoping Hillary was going to win. She was a fan. You know, neocons in the Beltway loved her. You know? Marcia Smith. I don't know, Jana Kelton, but as a disabled senior, I can no longer do the kinds of marches and protests I did in the 70s. Yeah, it was young people in the 70s. It needs to be young people now. What are your thoughts on mail-in ballots? I love the idea would get more Americans to vote. Well, we can vote by mail in California. So I'm a fan of that. I started doing that 8 years ago when I was on the road heavy, and I knew I wasn't going to be in town on election day. Sometimes I'd be flying or whatever. I started mail-in votes, you know? So I think it's a great idea. You know, anything that encourages more people to participate in democracy, I'm all for, and that is safe and can't be, you know, it's harder to beat. I'm all for that. Joshua Pegg, I don't go to protest because I'm scared of being wrongfully arrested by pigs and ending up losing my job, which I like and need. Very valid reason. Cyber Clue, what's up? I can't believe I'm getting DNC emails from Tom Perez asking me for donations and implying that he and his Democrats help the progressive candidates like Rashida Tlaib. Oh, God. See how they just take credit for everything? They smear progressives, they get in the way, they cheat, they lie, and then they take credit for them. They're the fucking worst, man. Wasn't Bernie putting out a bill making voting a national holiday, a day off? Yeah, I'm all for it. Either do it on the weekends like a lot of countries do, or make that Tuesday election day is like the 4th of July or New Year's Day or something. Everything's closed. There's nothing for you to do on that day except go vote and still have early voting. So in the state of California, they had early voting, which means they had select polling places, not as many as there are on an actual election day. And it was the highest early voting in the history of it in the state of California, this past midterm election. So, and the thing is, people still haven't figured out how important the primaries are. You know, that's the other thing too. People really need to understand how important the primaries are and why, you know, we have the 15, 20% voter turnout in the primaries when we should be, I mean, we should have, if they reform the election system, made it a national holiday, did all the improvements we're talking about, we should consistently have 80% voter turnout in this country. Then we have a real democracy, you know, and then we vote these assholes out of here. Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House of Atlantis 2040. Well, we're going to be underwater by then, so that's a good plan. Non-applicable. I vote and I vote in primaries. Yeah. Don't forget, guys, you can support the show hitting the $sign or go to streamlabs.com/Graham Elwood. That goes through PayPal. Boom. Graham, I don't understand why people praise early voting. When Americans early vote, we have to use voting machines. Lots of problems with them all over the country. Well, yeah, I don't think the problems with voting machines, I don't think is a reason to not be in favor of early voting. I'm in favor. I like early voting because it had higher voter turnout. I just think more people should vote and pay attention and get involved. That's just what I think. So I think those are two separate issues. The voting machines that are hackable, or, you know, those were created by Diebold, right? The owner of Diebold was a big Bush supporter. He's a big Republican. Those machines are at the latest hack convention, whatever hackathon, whatever they call it. There was like kids hacking those machines in under 10 minutes. So we need to reform when we vote, you know, making it a holiday. I am in favor of early voting, but then we also need to how we collect the votes. The safest, least hackable, least cheatable way is what we should be using. So that's my point on that. Joshua Pegg, Shaka Bra, thanks for supporting the show. Shave the Knuckles, Ron Placone and I looking to do the Progressive Comedy Tour in Hawaii. We're close to locking those dates down. It looks like maybe February 8th in Maui, somewhere around there. I can't say for sure, but around that time frame. Thanks, Joshua Pegg. Everybody, Shaka bro, hang loose. Jana Kelton, early voting should only be paper ballots. It's early, so they should have plenty of time to count them correctly. That's a great point. That's the thing about voting by mail. Those are all paper ballots. I'm all for paper ballots and people getting a stub, knowing that they voted and that being, but then, you know, we got to go after every little way that they cheat and repress people. I'm all for it. Yes, you're right, Moose Gal. We also need proper training for election officials. Absolutely. Not applicable. I'm glad you're saying I look good. Thanks, bro. Or gal. However you identify, thank you for the compliment. I say dude and bro a lot. It's general neutral when I say that. Yeah, the DNC is not, I don't know. I think they are more obstruction than a way forward. Vegan Trove, is that a California thing? Abby Martin says, dude, too. Yeah, it is a California thing. My friends back in Chicago are like, God. I say, yeah, Abby Martin says, dude, a lot. Even if anyone says something, you go, oh, dude. Like I've said that to women. I've had women say it to me. It's dude. So thank you. Cyberclue could always do dudette. What's up, dudette? I don't know, bro. Noah Dungaty, hey, Graham, could you look into land value taxation, otherwise known as Georgism, after the economist Henry George? Oh, yeah, I will look into that. I don't know that much about it. So you could do several things. You could email me something and hopefully I'll get around to it. If you go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and do the $5 pick a topic level, once a month, you can send me an article or a subject and I'll cover it. So go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and I'll definitely cover that. And you get to support the show, which, as I was saying earlier, some of you just joined us. This show, I couldn't do it if it wasn't for Patreon. The money I get from YouTube is not enough. They have throttled my numbers. It's not enough. It's not that much. I need the Patreon money. So I'd like for the Patreon tiers, I'd like to grow that. I'd like to get more people. And this is the thing I was talking about earlier. So YouTube, I'm at 10,500 subscribers, which is great. But if they weren't throttling, like when I first got into this 2 years ago, if they hadn't messed with it, I would have probably 30 or 40,000 subscribers, which would mean I would have higher views, which would mean more people would then funnel over into Patreon. You know, if I started doing crazy Patreon money, then my next goal, my next studio is like even better, bigger, better equipment. I want to have like chairs where I can sit down and do a face-to-face interview with a person. I'd like to have some panelists because I see how fun it is for Jimmy when he's got people on the panel to joke and talk with and bounce ideas off of. And then the in-person interviews are really huge. So anyway, Gorilla Graham him the explanation, huh? How about what's up, Bernie, bro? I always say that. Yes, the rains did help. Dude, bro, man, check this out. Yeah, that's how we talk. Next on HGT, flipping houses with George Washington. Yeah, he was a real estate guy that stole land from the Native American and then sold it. I want to support you so bad, but medical debt and living with MS prevents me. Don't worry about it. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Anyone who can support me financially with a couple dollars a month on Patreon, I greatly appreciate it. It's awesome. Anyone that is struggling with money, here are the ways that you can support the show for free. First and foremost, make sure you're subscribed, because they unsubscribe. You might have subscribed to me 2 or 3 times. Check again right now. Hit the bell notification button. They won't always notify you, but it's at least one way to know when I'm going live and when I drop new videos. Watch the ads all the way through. When you click skip ad, I do not get paid. Okay, that's huge. So even if you're like watching some crazy right-wing like CRTV, just be happy knowing that letting that ad play, they are now having to pay me. So it's good. Brah. Yeah, that's the Hawaiian style. So the other thing too, non-applicable. Also, I take the audio from all my videos after like a week's worth of videos, and I release it as an audio podcast on iTunes. Subscribing to that, if I can get my subscription numbers up on my audio podcast, I can start selling ads, which is another way to bring money into the show. Sharing my videos, liking them, following me on social media, all those metrics, those analytics, those help. And those are free ways for you to support the show if you're having money trouble or medical debt. I totally get it. Don't feel bad at all. And those are great ways to support the show, just so you know. Oh, Plantastic Life, Dominic. Shave the knuckles. Shave them for Gotham. Hey, Graham, what is your guess on the percentage of registered Democrats who consider themselves progressives? That's a great question. I don't know if there's any hard data on that. If I were to guess, I would say probably 40% of the party, if not more, 50%. If it was in the 60%, I wouldn't be shocked. Registered Democrats that call themselves progressives, I don't know, maybe it's lower because maybe so many actual progressives have bailed on that fucking party. I'm not a registered Democrat. So I don't know. That's a great question, Plantastic Life. That's my guess. This was a game show. My final answer would be 46%. I don't know, just throwing it out there. But thank you for supporting the show. Thanks, non-applicable. Yeah, I like telling people all the ways you can support the show. You know, just when you like a video of mine on YouTube, there's that share button. They make it so easy. You can share it on all of your social media platforms. That helps me get new listeners, new viewers, new subscribers, new Patreon people. That's a great way. And even if you're like, oh, you know, I don't have a lot of people on social media. It doesn't matter. You share one video, I get one new subscriber. All that adds up. Every little thing adds up. Marcia Smith, has anyone seen that video clip of when Justin Trudeau called Trump Donald, which he apparently hates? If not, check it out because it's hilarious. Oh, that's cool. I'd like to do that. Hello, Donald. Yes, I could use a billionaire benefactor like Bruce Wayne. Oh, if there's any billionaires watching, help us out. Come on, dude. Be a bro. Help out the vigilante. Vegan Drove. It would be great if Jimmy Dore went vegan. I think it would help him a great deal with his illness. But of course, the important issue is nonviolence. Absolutely. Him and Steph are leaning more towards it. They feel better. They're finding all these really like vegetarian alternatives, and you know they both like cooking, and you know I don't know if they'll give up seafood because they like sushi, but it's all right. A lot of people are waking up to it. It's good business. Jana Kelton, if I lived in Cali, I'd be your assistant pro bono, bro. Thanks, Jana. Fucking knuckle it out, dude. Dude it out, bro. Knuckle my dude, bro. I don't even know what I'm saying now. I'm getting punchy. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, we got new folk on Streamlabs. Receipts. Thank you for supporting the show on Streamlabs, guys. That's it. You can support the show on Streamlabs whenever you want. Just go to streamlabs.com/Graham Elwood. Donate through PayPal. Anytime you want to just do a one-time donation, if you don't have the time to do it monthly on Patreon, you can do one-time donations on Patreon too, but Streamlabs, of course, my P.O. Box, which is on my website, GrahamElwood.com. You can send money that way, just if you want to just do a one-time thing, whatever. I appreciate anyway and always. So here's from Receipts on Streamlabs. In 22 states, it's illegal to photograph your ballot and share it on social media. Why can't we have a receipt of our ballot in case Debbie does ballots again? Man, that is a great question. Gee, why would they have that illegal? Maybe I guess you could I see the reasoning of don't take photos because perhaps someone could duplicate ballots, print the photo and submit them. I don't know. I see that point. But you bring up a bigger issue, which is great, that we need more tracking. I'm telling you, what I watched Jimmy Dore on RT with Brigida Santos talk about this blockchain that they're developing, or even maybe for voting. I mean, obviously the blockchain is the thing that works, as I understand it. Not a tech guy, but yeah, we need to really. But here's the thing: the two parties that control the election system, they both cheat, so they don't want too big of election reform. You know what I mean? It's the two criminals. They're not going to rat each other out too much because they don't want to then get investigated. That's what's going on. So we should be able to have a receipt, though, of every ballot, and everyone keep their receipts and count them. I mean, yeah, that's what I'd like to see. So thanks for supporting the show. 22 states, you can't take a photo. God, both parties are a scam, absolutely. The Illinois Senate will have a supermajority of 40 Democrats to Republicans' 19 members. The Illinois House will have 74 Democrats, 3 more than is needed for veto-proof majorities. Yeah, let's see what they get done. Because here in California, when they've had those kind of supermajorities, that's when, you know, Medicare for all doesn't happen. That's when they vote it down. Then they wait till the Republicans get a little more control, and then they go, oh, the Republicans blocked us. Fucking bullshit. Be controlled. Pennsylvania has paper ballots now, part of the Jill Stein lawsuit. Awesome. Jimmy said he's still eating meat due to his doctor orders because of his bone condition. Well, yeah, he has a specific bone condition. So if some people have to eat it, I'm not going to argue with them. Cyberclue, I'm glad Allison Hartson is heading the TYT Army. I still can't believe Dianne Feinstein is their senator again. Ugh, I know. And Nancy Pelosi as speaker makes me sick, and it much harder for us in 2020. Oh, yeah. One of the best Republican fundraising tools is that Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House. They just go, oh, Pelosi, and the Republicans go, oh, she's the worst. She hates America, or whatever their thing is. She doesn't hate America. She loves corporate greed, and she hates working class people. If the Illinois Dems turn out to be not as progressive as we need them to be, any suggestions on how to make them progressive? We'll keep an eye on them. Vote them out. The thing that I've always said, the people that you voted for, you need to hold them more accountable than the people that you didn't. Or just the people that won, even if you didn't vote for them, but they are your representatives. You need to call your representatives, email them excuse me, on a regular basis and say, I want Medicare for all. I want this, I want this, I want this. If you don't, I'm voting you out. Scare them. That's what the Tea Party's done. And that's what you got to hold. Don't go easy on them because they're Democrats. Don't do that. That's the big mistake. When Democrats, like, you know, everyone got mad at Jimmy. Oh, he shouldn't have been so hard on Ocasio-Cortez for you know, for endorsing Cuomo or supporting this Pelosi, the Progressive Caucus. He goes, no, I really like her and I think she's great, but I'm going to hold her feet to the fire. When she does stuff like, you know, when the Progressive Caucus backs Pelosi, I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. Don't go easy on them. Be harder on them. That's what you do publicly to your friends. Don't play that because they want you to play that. Well, at least that's the Republic. That's what they want. No, you guys have and call them out on it. You have a supermajority in the state house in Illinois. You have no fucking excuse. Pass these things. Pass them now. Find out, oh, this guy got this money from this corporation. That's why he's voting against the progressive policy that we want. Fucking call him out on it. Tell me, go on your social media, tell your friends and family that this is what this person's actually doing, because that's what they're hoping, that we don't know what they're actually doing and where they're actually getting their money, so that we can just go, well, they're Democrats, they must be better than the evil Trump Republicans. That's what they're banking on. That's what you don't do. Yeah. Pelosi is going to push to buy in for Medicare for people 50 plus. That might happen just because then Pelosi can say, I fought for you. Just making, lowering the age from whatever it is, 60 or 65 to 50. Okay, that's good. That would help some people. But come on, man. I mean, I'd be happy if she does that, because I'm knocking on 50's door, but we need a Medicare for all. But that, if at best she'll do that, but I doubt it. She'll fuck up Medicare. She'll make some deal with Donald Trump and then try to blame the Republicans, even though she could have helped pass this, and she won't. That's what you're going to hear a lot of bipartisan teamwork coming from Nancy Pelosi, which means we all get fucked. Jana Kelton, it's almost like we should have our reps' phone numbers taped to our refrigerator so we can call them anytime. Not almost like, do that. I tell everyone, that's a great idea, Jana Kelton. Get your mayor, your city council, right? Get your state representatives and get your senators and congresspeople. Get all their numbers on your fridge, and whenever something fucked happens, just fucking call them up and say, hey, fix this shit. Fix it. The city of Santa Monica, where I live, has an app. And whenever you go out and see something broken, a pothole, a stop sign's not working, you take a photo of it, write the address of where it is, and it goes to the city, and they're aware of it. So I would do stuff. I would get their phone numbers and emails and put them on your fridge. That's a great idea. Your 50 and unders can choke on it. Nancy Pelosi. Yeah. Right. Moose Gal, you'll be 40 next. That's the thing. Nancy, this is from CyberClue. Nancy Pelosi's net worth is over $80 million, and she still takes the corporate cash and forks the base. How much power and money does she need? Exactly. She's greedy. She's horribly greedy and awful. Well, guys, it's been an hour and 38 minutes. I'll answer this last question. Besides being a great fundraiser, why else do Californians keep electing Pelosi? Is that because they don't want to give up power for California? I think that's part of it. And they just like, well, we've always voted for her. And then they say, I hear people say she's battle tested and all this bullshit. They don't do their research and find out how much money she's actually gotten from the medical industry and the healthcare industry. Or they'll just fall back on identity politics. We need a strong woman. It's like, I'm all for a strong woman, provided she's a progressive and not a corporate fucking sellout. I think that's it. Not enough people pay more attention, and they just see her on the ballot. Well, yeah, maybe I'm not a huge fan, but she's better than the Republicans. Like, they'll just do that. Think about it. Think about times in your life where you weren't paying as much attention before you really woke up or whatever, and you just went, oh, I'm just going to vote this way. Pelosi, I guess. I used to do that. Yeah, Feinstein and Boxer. All right. That's what I would do when I wouldn't pay enough attention. That's probably why. People say, well, but Nancy Pelosi's good at fundraising. But right. She's from big corporations, so she does their bidding. She doesn't do our bidding. Nah, it's crazy. You guys are fantastic. I want to thank everybody. Joshua Peg, Shaka Bro, thank you for supporting the show. Plantastic Life, Dominic, thank you so much. Those are the folks on the YouTube side. One more question here on the Streamlabs side, because both parties support abstinence-only education. They only care about erection reform and gun control. All right, you just wanted to write dirty sex jokes? All right. All right, thanks. Thank you. That's got to be Balthazar 228. Thank you everybody on the Streamlabs who supported the show. All those people were Lilu Dallas Multipass, Honest Questions, Oaf, Marcia Smith, thank you for supporting the show. Balthazar 228, I think. Receipts and Erection Reform. I love just spending money to make a dick joke. God bless you. You guys are fantastic. It was great. It was another great Sunday. I love doing this. I made sure I flew home early today so that I could do this. I love hearing I love having the conversations. It's really cool, you know. And even with Natural Progressive, thank you, thanks, Chris. Doing, you know, I've been doing 10 to 12 videos a week. I'm not sick anymore, so we're getting it out. I'm putting more stuff on the Patreon. You get early access to the audio podcast. You know, even with Jimmy doing his thing, we had 20 some people and 18 thumbs up, which is great. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. You guys are fantastic. So thanks again for taking your time out on a Sunday and supporting the show. I really, really appreciate it. You guys have helped build this show from me talking into my phone, reading the paper, to now we got this cool fancy studio. And we're going to keep making it bigger and better because, you know, next year, the tour, we're going to be doing Progressive Comedy Tour. We're coming to Florida. Tickets are already selling. Orlando, Gainesville, Coral Gables, and Jacksonville. It's a lot of tickets already selling over there. So one of those cities is probably going to sell out in the next couple of weeks. I think Orlando's probably going to sell out soon because the ticket sales are doing well. Go to GrahamMelwood.com and thanks for watching the show. And thank you guys for making Gotham great again. Go vegan.